with BYU women's basketball head coach Lee Cummard. And Lee, we were just talking moments ago, but how does it feel to be a head coach in these meetings? And not only that, but at a time in college sports where it's just so much change happening around us.
Yeah, it's a great humbling experience, to be in these meetings with such important stakeholders across the NCAA landscape, from administrators down to low man on the totem pole myself, as far as just significance across college sports. It's been interesting, eye-opening, been kind of wide-eyed the whole time, but when I found it prudent to share some of my feelings as well within the group, and but overall, just a great experience.
So you felt like you were able to share your opinion, so it's collaborative then.
Yeah, most of the time I just, know my space and,
Yeah.
and read the room and see, but on certain issues that got brought up, sharing thoughts in it, but a lot of silence from me.
Who'd you sit by, if you don't mind me asking?
They typically put these schools together, right?
Gotcha.
And so anytime there was men's and women's basketball, Coach Young and myself were next to each other. And then in the women's basketball coaches meeting, I was next to Arizona State's coach, Molly Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And give me 1 second, I'll remember. Yeah.
You're good. That's it's pretty exciting times. I'm sure it's been challenging. I'm sure it's been a whirlwind since you got this head coach position. But is it just solely focused on the rev share piece and this pending House versus NCAA? What were some of the key talking points for women's basketball?
There was a lengthy discussion on that and kind of what that looks like whenever that goes through. But as far as the total time in meetings, that was just a small piece of everything. Game rules was a discussion, scheduling, a lot of other things to discuss in those meetings.
Scheduling, talk with the TCU coach and Kansas coach. They talked about the importance of scheduling and trying to get that, be able where you can have a seed where you can have home court in the NCAA tournament eventually. What's maybe your thoughts on putting together a schedule for the first time as a head coach? What are you looking to accomplish with non-con?
Yeah, I think that in the non-conference, you want to play the best possible schedule you can play and still manufacture wins. So if you're going 6-5, you're probably not as good as you think you are, or you're playing too challenging of teams. And if you're going, 11-0, you're either better than you think or not scheduling hard enough games. And so kind of the sweet spot of 9-2 of 11 games, that's what the data is telling us. And that's probably where my mindset is having a challenging enough schedule to play as good of a schedule as we can and end up 9-2. Obviously, you want to win every game, but for those metrics and seeding and hosting an NCAA tournament, kind of approaching it that way, and then hoping that the conference schedule helps you as well, right? 18 games against high-quality opponents, but that's kind of at least the experts on it. You want to play a challenging enough schedule in the non-con as well as in the conference season that instead of being a 5 seed, now you're a 4 seed and hosting that first weekend, that kind of thing.
Are you almost done with your non-conference schedule?
It's shoring up for sure. Until you have a contract in hand, you never want to jinx anything. But it's getting close, and feel good about it. Got a good balance of really good games, harder games.
Can you give us a tease?
And
or you gotta wait for that contract?
At the moment, I gotta wait.
Yep.
And just out of respect for the other teams, as it gets later into the summer. But there's a couple marquee teams that will be preseason ranked, top 25 on the non-conference schedule. And then, I mean, you can go back and look. We got several schools that will be returning to us this year that we played or will be going to them, kind of thing. But yeah, like in a perfect world, you just play teams that you can go in there and gain confidence against. And for us as a younger team, new program, right? You just want to have a lot of confidence going into that conference season. And I think going back to last year, I'll use an example. We lost a couple early games that maybe we had a really good chance of winning. And what does that do to the rest of the conference season? And so instead of starting 0-3 and 0-4, now you're 2-2 or 3-1 because those games were so close. Does that carry over into some of the other games in league?
When you bring that up with some of those games early last year in Big 12 play, I think of that road game at West Virginia where it was a nationally ranked team, but you guys were right there, but there was just maybe some on-court, turnovers and things like that need to be cleaned up. For the on-court product, as you settle in with your vision for year one, what do you want the biggest changes to be on the court for this team under your watch?
I mean, I'll use that game. I mean, we lost it by 13, I believe.
Yeah.
On the road, true road game.
Top 25 team, too.
Top 25 team. We had 31 turnovers.
Yeah.
That's the most glaring. Probably the hey, if you swipe a magic wand to clean up just those empty possessions and or lost possessions really impacts winning. But this group has to figure out how to win, right? We're relatively young based on games played in college basketball with who we have returning and the influx of new people. And so that's going to be important, figuring out how to win basketball games. And there's a lot of close games. And usually the team that believes they can win late in those games typically does. And trying to change that mindset with the group is important. And I think that's why when we had a healthy discussion with the women's coaches about, hey, should the top teams in league play the top teams in league more often, or should it be top teams, everybody play equally? And I think it's just super important for a young team that doesn't know how to win yet, before you can switch the mindset. They don't have any big setbacks where they have a 2, 3, 4, 5 game skid to where they just feel like, it hurts their confidence tremendously.
The motto in off-season practices, play hard, play right, play to win. I'm curious, how does someone like Delaney Gibb, who's one of the top players in this league, how does she kind of embody that? Is she being the tone setter of kind of leading that charge?
Yeah, if you set a camera up in the Mary Center Annex, you would see the play hard, play right side of things really clearly, because she's in there as much as anybody, including on the men's team, right? She's working extremely hard. She's efficient, and the quality of reps that she's getting during those workouts, right, come through really clear. And then she's super competitive, and when winnings involve in a drill and or segment of practice that comes through. But it's not just for her on the court, right? We've talked about academics a lot as a team, and winning in all aspects. Approaching all aspects of life with that kind of theme of playing hard, playing right. Well, what does playing hard in the classroom look like? What does playing the right way in the classroom look like? And she embodies that, and it rubs off on her teammates. And as a group, we're trying to embody that and just kind of become who we are, not just talk.
How good can Delaney become, you think? I know that you maybe don't want to get into expectations, but just she seems like a really special player that has endless upside.
She's very driven, and it's easy to root for and get behind and want to work just as hard, if not more, for somebody that has that drive. She's not the only one on the team currently that's putting in the time to have a big jump for next season across the board. We got a lot of people, doing the things necessary to improve collectively and as individuals.
Well, and kind of getting into that roster a little bit, last year I think an underrated piece that many people maybe didn't realize, young, but also there were players that maybe you're counting on that got banged up. I think of Ariel Mackey-Williams. Is she good to go
Yeah,
back?
Ari's progressing well. She's been doing individual stuff that doesn't involve contact. Now she's progressed to the point where she can have what's the word of it? Almost token defense or choreographed defense, where she knows there's no sudden movements from outsiders in that, but with some contact a little bit. But for the most part, working and progressing very well.
What about Mariah Hudgens? I remember she started. And
yeah, no, Mariah's full go. She's in contact drills. She's working extremely hard and highly competitive.
What do you think of that transfer class last year? Maybe the leaps they could make, and then pair it up with this new group as well, the potential of some of those players.
Yeah, no. I mean, we typically haven't had a huge wave of transfers come in. We have some, and they've been productive, and we want to focus more on, hey, can they come in here and help us, and can we, if they have time, can we develop to a place where they help us, and we feel good about it. We got some key pieces that have come over the last couple of years that will help us this year, and focusing on development side as well within that, but. Yeah.
What about, I did want to ask you about one new face, Lara Rocole from College of Charleston. What do you like about her? I mean, veteran player, but what does she provide to that front court?
I mean, aside from the basketball side, which has opened a lot of eyes since she's come, she's raised the level of several of our current teammates of hers. I think she's a very good fit for our group as a person, as a player. Her skill set is going to work really well with some of the dynamic guards that we have, and her cultural experience that she brings to the locker room, on top of how much she's played in college basketball, is important for us. It's something that we wanted out of the portal, was somebody that fit in the locker room, had a lot of playing experience, and then could move the needle basketball-wise, and I think she does.
Is your roster finalized? I know that might be to be determined with the settlement,
sure.
But is it pretty much good to go?
It's pretty close. I'll just leave it pretty vague at that, but yeah, we like our group, and some of them, we feel there's upside, the right fit with who we have, and we feel good where we're at.
Kaylee Woolston, will she be back in time for this season, or is she going to be winter?
She doesn't return until late in the fall semester.
Gotcha.
And the plan is for her to join us at semester break and not play this year, but get back in shape and get her legs back under after returning from remission. And we're looking forward to that. But the plan is for her not to play this upcoming season.
But how rewarding, though, was that her, Delaney, they're buying into your vision and seeing
think
long term?
It's more than that. Yes, that's a component of it, but it's the BYU component of it. I think they want to play with great people that are selfless, right? I know Delaney's our returning leading scorer, but she wants to win more than anything, and people want to play with that, right? I think there's a component of who's here, who's coming here, right, that everybody sees and they like. So, I mean, as far as my vision, sure, that's a piece of it, but there's a lot of other variables in it as people stay or want to come back to BYU.
Last couple things for you, Lee, and really appreciate this time. The assistant coaches, you just pretty much retain everyone. Is that right?
Yeah, currently everybody's planning on staying here. There might be a little bit of movement, but not my doing. Some others have some opportunity that they're deciphering between, and I want to be supportive of what they feel is best. But yeah, still in the process of kind of concretely finishing the staff, and what that looks like at BYU is a little bit different, as everybody knows. So trying to manage that with potential people that have come after the position is challenging, but looking to bring in the right fit, not in a hurry. Feel like we have a capable staff to manage what we're being asked to manage and what we need right now. And then when the right person is there and all the boxes get checked, then we'll go forward with that.
Are you getting additional staff added?
That's to be determined. Kind of exploring all things, but right now, focus on the right fit, whether it's 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, and depending on, one or two deciding between where they're at here with BYU and their opportunity here, and other places, that's kind of up in the air at the moment. But trying to, let things play out.
Last thing for you, Lee. Just how excited are you to be a head coach at your alma mater and to lead BYU women's basketball to heights maybe they've never reached? Just the excitement that you're bringing to this position, what the program has in front of it.
Truly an honor. I've always wanted to be a head coach. I'm super grateful that it's at BYU. I don't think there's a better place in the country to have a program or run a program, and to be at meetings like this. And my boys are with me. They're at Disney World today while I'm in meetings. But I took one of them down for breakfast this morning, and some of the more big faces in college sports, walk by, and we get past them, and they're like, "Dad, do you know who that is?" That's a neat experience. But I'm really excited about the opportunity that's before me. Women's basketball is exploding, right? And how much of that can we capture at BYU with the staff and roster that we have? That gets me excited, because I feel like we have really good pieces in place to really kind of do something special. Hopefully sooner than later, but I think that with the resources and the changes that are happening at BYU, there's no reason it can't. And kind of the whole league this year kind of turned over, right? We had a lot of vacating production, either through graduation or the portal, and kind of nobody knows what that looks like within the league. But we feel like we have a group that can be competitive now, and as we build with some of our youth, do something even better
Thanks.
in years to come.
Thanks, Lee.
So.